to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
He's gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lee to the inside goes Logan Clapman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside as Trunkgate goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
I tried, there's contact though.
Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Benner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Makashube, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
With the start of a new decade and a new era, where from the virtual Daytona International Speedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the 2020 season opener of the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. As we say, let's go racing from Daytona. Round 1 of the Coke Series era is green. So much contact, Overland leaning on him, he was right up against the fence, and I think the saving grace is that when that 3 car came by, a very smart move by the 46 machine of Mullis to back off and give Reynolds an escape route. Logan Clampett may have an option to hit the eject button. He is second online on the outside. Here we come for the final time at a turn 4. Leahy holds the bottom. Ottinger's gonna get a shove. They're gonna wreck behind in a photo finish, and it's good enough on the inside. Keegan Leahy, by 4/1000ths of a second, wins the season opener at Daytona. And we'll relive all of the action on the final lap here. You're going to see the wreck coming from behind, but Ottinger had a whale of a push from Logan Clampett. You can see 4 or 5 wide crashing. In fact, most of the wreck, it actually happens beyond the start-finish line. So I think most drivers are going to be okay with where they finished, but it is up front, those first 5 cars that were able to stay together.
Yeah, Bobby Bryant went to the inside, almost anticipating something was going to happen here by the looks of it. And actually, that's the 47 car going to the inside line. But you mentioned it, Evan. They're 4 or 5 wide. They're kind of sliding across the line. And after that, all heck breaks loose. Graham Bolin goes for a wild ride in the 18 car, up and over, and everybody else sliding afterwards. But for the most part, I don't want to call them pinballs, but that's pretty much what they were coming across the line. Look at all those cars going across, but they made it 100 laps.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's going the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him.
Oh my God.
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go. Oh no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God. God, what?
Welcome to week 11 of the iRacing official Class C Truck Series, the fixed of the 2 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And a small field today, just 14 cars. Got unlucky with the split size once again. and it's going to be live here on SimSpeed TV. My name is Ryan Jones. Alongside me is Simon Mazzomo. Jay Kennedy is behind the scenes. Simon, looking forward to a good race despite the relatively small field. There's some pretty talented drivers in here.
Yeah, some very, very talented drivers. Yep, welcome everyone again tonight. Personally, this is a favourite for me. I absolutely love racing at this track. I've been hitting it hard all week, but bit of a small field. But as you're saying, with the talented guys we've got in this field, it's going to be a very close race and a lot of good fun.
Most certainly. As always, qualifying currently underway. You're looking at Jason Martin making his way across the start-finish stripe and immediately putting his truck up into pole position with the 31.108, or 109 on our overlay there. Mitchell McLeod coming off the back and winning the 8:15 or 9:15 daylight time slot. Only puts himself 5th in qualifying.
See Fiorini on the screen at the moment doing his lap. I wonder if wonder how Mitch will go with tyres. He keeps talking them a lot, especially in the last race. Listening to him, he keeps talking about his tyres a whole lot. So I wonder if he's as confident as what he thinks he is in them.
Well, Fiorini was someone that does a lot of oval racing, pretty decent iRating too, but he struggled with his tyres. In the previous time slot, both of us were in this split with, well, most of these drivers, Simon. Whereas McLeod out front started to get clawed back quite dramatically. And then the last 6 or so laps, he seemed to just have better tyre life than the rest of the field. So maybe going through phases, some of these drivers with their tyres over the course of the race.
Yeah, definitely be a bit of that sort of going on. Watch Fiorini get to the line. Still goes to P4. Very, very nice time there for Fiorini. So obviously see a few people finishing off their laps at the moment. Kevin O'Brien will be coming up to the line as well. Oh, he'd be finished his one now actually. Sorry, he's done his lap, so he'll come in at 10th at the moment. So times are a little bit spread, actually. It's quite interesting to see how much of a time gap there is for these guys. But anyways, I'll let you take away with the grid.
Yep, going to be Jason Martin off pole position. Kyle Trudell will start from 2nd with Sam Fowler off 3rd and Angelo Fiorini off 4th. Dave Douglas lines up 5th out of Michael Cracknell in 6th. Mitchell McLeod starting from 7th. Louis Figuera starting 8th. Top 10 rounded up by Med Jarrell and Kevin O'Brien.
And then we've only got a few more left on the last 2 rows. Robert Northway coming in 11th. Hayden Carter coming in 12th. Joe Hernandez 13th. And William Noble will round out the 14-car field for this race.
Track temperature out there, 29 degrees. Plenty of grip out there for the drivers. No real wind to contend with. 40-lap race, which means fuel will go from green to the checkered. Only time we'll see pit stops is if a caution comes out and drivers want to come down and get some fresh boots on their trucks. Not many clouds in the sky either, so the sun beating down on that circuit. And the stands are full. That's a first for a truck race, isn't it?
Well, we're broadcasting it, so of course everyone's going to come watch it. There's been some amazing racing in the last few weeks, so everyone will be very keen to see how these guys go. Especially with Mitch McLeod on the grid. That's who they're probably all here to see. I mean, who wouldn't want to come and see a race with Mitch in?
I'm not even going to touch that. No, it should definitely be a good race. So this track, this car, the 20-degree banking of this circuit means that you can hold it flat basically for quite a number of laps off the start here. The only issue with that is you will burn up those tyres extremely quickly. So expect a lot of the experienced guys, or at least the guys who know what they're doing this week, to be lifting off ever so slightly even, just right from lap 1, just to look after those tyres. I think the biggest key here will be to look at Jason Martin and see what sort of lap times he's doing. If he suddenly starts to fall through the field, you can probably bet that he's saving his tyres, and the guys that go by him probably aren't, because Martin, well, is the most experienced driver out on this track.
Yeah, absolutely. He's very successful in these cars, especially in the Australian community. Very well known for it. But yeah, as you say, it's just about preserving those tires. Like, it's very easy, especially very enticing, especially the first couple of laps. It's definitely got that super speedway feel where you want to just pin it flat and go as hard as you can, but just got to weigh up that risk versus reward. You can get a good run and punch a bit of a gap out, but later in the race it's going to come back to bite you, especially with these tires. So you can still run a decent pace. Like I said, we're sort of lifting into the turns. You can still run a very, very decent pace if you find a good pack to run with. As we've discovered, obviously running the earlier splits, it's not too bad. You've just got to have a little bit of patience, which is strange to say for race drivers. They don't generally have a lot of it.
Certainly don't. Let's see who's got the patience today. Who's going to take a gamble here at Vegas and try and lead out early on. As a pace car will dive down out of turn number 4. Feel we're left on the hands here of Jason Martin to his outside, the number 2 of Kyle Trudell. As Martin jumps on the gas and we go racing here in Vegas, and a very good start for the number 1 man. And Trudell's not going to come down to the inside. Sam Fowler going to immediately pull alongside him down into turn number 1 as Fiorini trying to find a way through just behind them as well. And now Fiorini dives down to the inside line too, and Trudell going to lose out a few spots here off this start.
Yeah, drop back a little bit there. You can see there's sort of 3 of them. Very, very good start by Jason, as you were sort of saying, that these guys sort of just sort themselves out at the moment. Trudell not in the position he wants to be right now. Sitting up in that high line, especially in the early stages, is not a place you want to be. You want to try to get down as low as possible. The rest of the field spreading out a little bit. You can see Northway, O'Brien, Carter sort of at the back at the moment. But once again, what's their strategy? Are they trying to save tyres, or what are they thinking about doing as this race progresses? So this lead pack, top 6 guys, sitting in a bit of a rhythm at the moment. So we'll see how this sort of progresses from here, I guess.
Trudell still stuck on the outside here of Dave Douglas, the virtual motorsport mentor machine. Cleared him for a moment coming out of turn number 2, but Trudell's been able to come right back at him through 3 and 4. In fact, got his nose ahead through turn 2 here. Mitchell McLeod behind them, trying to find a way through as well, looking incredibly racy early on. Douglas going to lose out that spot now, going to have to contend with McLeod going around to his outside. And Michael Cracknell, as McLeod gets very close to the side of Douglas, has to lift off, and now here comes Cracknell down to the inside of McLeod. He pushes him all the way down to the apron.
Yeah, it was very unsettled from McLeod. He sort of see him go for the outside line, but it just sort of didn't sort of want to turn coming out of 4. It pushed really hard up high. You can see him there. He's having to get right out wide. Looks like he's actually going to have the run as they go into 3 now. Yep, he's going to get over the top. So very nice driving from Mitch. And now we're going to see Cracknell as well, who'll be also looking at trying to get past. So I wonder if Douglas is already realising that the tempo of this race is a bit too high at the moment, and he's just going to sort of back out, let these guys go, let them have their fun up front, and try and catch it back up later in the race.
Speaking of up front, Sam Fowler making his way by Kyle Trudell, right in the wake of Jason Martin too, who's not been able to break away too much. In fact, he's been closed in over the last couple of laps since the opening affair. And Fowler now going to lose out, I should say, to Fiorini, who goes by him. Just being watched too by Kyle Trudell in that number 2 machine. To make their way through 1 and 2. Fiorini's just disappeared off the screen there, having a few issues. He reappears right behind Martin, and Martin here want to be having a bit of a consideration as to how hard he wants to fight Fiorini if he decides to go for that move. Fowler and Trudell just happen to sit in there at the moment. Mitchell McLeod back in 5th, about a second off the lead of the race, and then a second and a half back to the group of Douglas, Jarrell, Cracknell, Northway, Figueroa, all battling for that 6th place, as now Jarrell clears Douglas as well.
Yeah, there's a bit of a, see Mitch trying to sort of bridge that gap, get onto the lead pack, and then you can sort of see, once again, sort of back in 6th position. There's another pack forming there, so they'll probably try to see if they can work together and bridge that gap back up, get back onto the front pack. Not helping them at the moment. Obviously, they're running too wide through the corners at the moment, which is going to slow them up a little bit. They won't be able to run at as much pace as what they'd like, so this is probably helping the front guys more than anything. They're sort of stringed out. They're sort of just following each other at the moment, just settling the pace down. So At the moment, their times are running a little bit quicker. 31.2 we're seeing for the front pack. And then if we go back to 6, it's a 31.5. So you can already tell the pace difference of about a couple of tenths. So this battling's not going to be helping them, especially in the short term if they want to try to bridge the gap and get to the front guys.
Especially running down the inside like Robert Northway at the moment. He's turning that wheel a lot, just scrubbing those tyres across the surface of the track, and going to be severely hampering his efforts at conserving his tyre life later on in the race as he finally clears Dave Douglas and slides up in front of him. Louis Figueira trying to get by Michael Cracknell, going to just about do that as well if he slides up in front of him here on turn number 4, which he does. So those guys finally get themselves all single file as they come across the start-finish stripe, just fanning out to try and find some air. And Cracknell going to try to come back here at Figueira all the way down to the inside. A good move. Figueira losing a whole heap of time there. Coming under pressure as well from Kevin O'Brien, who gets to his inside and pokes his nose ahead down this back straightaway.
Yeah, it's a little bit sort of moving around. You can see Dave, he's just struggling to hold the bottom line. You're just seeing him just pop up, so maybe he's pushing the thing way too hard. But yeah, you can see Cracknell now on the inside. He's going to have a really good run as they head into turn 1. So yeah, a little bit silly from these guys at the moment. They really don't want to afford having to battle this hard so early. There's still plenty of race to go, and you don't want to sort of be chewing your tyres out by having a sort of a needless battle. So it sort of seems to be like this. They're stringing themselves out now. They've just got O'Brien and Figueira at the moment, who are still running side by side, but everyone else seems to have sort of settled down into a bit of a rhythm.
Back up in that second place battle just behind Jason Martin. Hasn't really been too much of a change in this one. Fiorini still holding that best of the rest mantle. And none of these guys really pushing too hard at the moment either. They're all just content sitting in here and just waiting. Lap 12 of 40, so slowly approaching that halfway mark of the race. And it's about that halfway mark where you start to notice a difference in the tyre life too. And the guys that have used it up will start to fall backwards pretty quickly as Martin just struggling to get down to the white line there through 1 and 2. Fiorini probably a little bit insensitized by that. And they've all three of them, with Fowler behind, have just dropped Trudell as well, who's starting to fall away into the clutches of McLeod.
Let's go back down the field as well. You can see Robert Northway has actually managed to get the jump on Druell as well. And Cracknell's gone through with him as well. So Druell falling back a bit. Looks like he's not very struggling. Yeah, he was up high and they just couldn't really get the car to turn down. He's also going to have Dave Douglas have a run on him into 3 as well. So
Whoa.
he's not very close there. But yeah, he's struggling to get that thing to rotate through the corner. So just going to be careful there not to come down on Figueira. But yeah, he's just not turning in at all. He just can't seem to get the thing to rotate through the corner at all. So maybe he's worked the car way too hard at the start of this race. He's very much struggling. So the times at the moment, just looking through the field, they're all pretty much similar. Everyone's sort of backed out to the 31.5s, 31.6s. Just having a look at that last lap, everyone's pretty much on the same one. So everyone, as you were sort of saying, falling into that bit of a rhythm, you know, just sort of biding their time for this one. But I think if you're looking at Cracknell and Northway at the moment, those two are going to want to actually work together a bit more, because that gap up front's not going to disappear quick. So they'll want to start to work together. And Cracknell's through as well, as we were talking. So them two a bit sideways out of 2. So maybe Northway can do a bit of bump drafting and try to get them to catch up to the guys in front, because they'll definitely need to be there towards the end. Currently at the moment with where they are, don't think tyre wear is going to play too much into their hand. It's going to be very, very hard for them to try to bridge the gap with the leaders at the moment. So they may not be able to factor in the last bit of this race. Northway's having a look again. So a bit of a battle with these two. I don't think they're focusing too much on the guys in front.
No, they're going tooth and nail at the moment. That's the expression, right? Yeah.
Yeah, fight
Yes.
tooth and nail. That's the one you're looking for.
Yeah, yeah. What we saw a couple laps ago now from Douglas down that back straight as he went by the slow-moving Drell machine. The way these cars are set up, if you do suddenly make a swing to the left and then you try to straighten the car out, it does make that sort of awkward motion in the rear end where it tries to come back around on you and you almost end up spinning up to the right-hand side. It does make it extremely difficult if you have to take avoiding action to not then spin the car out yourself in sympathy. And if there was to be a crash on that back straight, wouldn't surprise me to see a few drivers have their own little spins trying to avoid it, and it's something we'll probably see over the a number of different tracks. Just the way they're set up, it just makes it very awkward whenever you try to put any right-hand steering lock into the truck. Of course, they're set up to turn left, and that's about all they do until we get to the road courses, and they set them up a little bit differently there.
Yeah, very easy to get it a bit tight, especially trying to avoid a wreck. Just they sort of get a bit taily if you just wanted to, especially change it, like I was saying, change the directions. It just really makes them sideways. Went back and had a look at Darrell as well and tried to figure out what's going on with him. You can actually see there's damage on the front right corner of the car. So I wonder if he's made contact with the wall we just haven't sort of picked up, and he's putting a lot of lock into that wheel as well. So he's really struggling to get that thing to turn. So unfortunately, that's just going to make it a bit all the more painful to stay in this one, but I think it looks like he's going to be, Joe Hernandez, we can see, is catching up. He's going to go to the inside, so fortunately not the night Darrell would be wanting to have. He's going to drop to last place, so damage, obviously here, a big factor. You know, it's kind of like a super speedway, this place, so as soon as you get a little bit of damage, it's really going to affect your race, and as we're sort of seeing here, unfortunately, it's just, yeah, it's going to cost him this one tonight.
Yeah, any of the tracks where it's majority flat out, any of these 1.5 miles, the super speedways, the 2 mile racetracks, damage is going to be paramount and it will really hinder your efforts in the race. When you get to the short tracks though, that's where you can really beat and bang with the cars and not suffer too much unless you do some serious damage to your machine. Haven't got a short track until the end of the season. There's a few coming up though next season, and then obviously your road courses, you don't want to damage yourself too much because, well, your straight line speed is going to be screwed at a track like Watkins Glen. There's some pretty decent sized straights there. So, I mean, as you can't afford to damage your truck.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Amplified on an oval, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially going back to the road courses, especially change of direction, as you were mentioning earlier, change of direction on the ovals is pretty hard with these things. Get onto a road course, you get a bit of damage, and we've just been told Michael Cracknell has touched the wall a bit. Go back and have a bit of a look. He's definitely sporting a bit of damage. Yep, front right corner has definitely sporting some damage, so that's not what we wanted to do at all as we go to a replay. So you can watch him coming into one. As he's coming out of 2, sitting up a bit high, probably higher than what you would like to be, and it's just drifted out wide. Very unfortunate. Same when the tyres start to go on these things, they just don't want to turn. Now, head back to 3rd and 4th place, who are having a huge battle at the moment. These two just can't seem to leave each other alone, can they, Ryan?
No, Fowler's coming under a lot of pressure here, just driving this car a car width or so below the normal racing line from out of 3 and 4 down the Chival, trying to cover off a move from Kyle Trudell, who's got a very good run here out of turn number 2. Going to get to the inside, up to his quarter panel and up to his door. Into turns 3 and 4. Very hard to make the move sick down on the inside if the guy crowds you down, but Fowler leaving him plenty of room. Takes a very high and wide line, an arc through 3 and 4. Lets Trudell go through. Mitchell McLeod now want a piece of this as well, watching on board from him back in 5th place as he sets himself up basically in the middle of turn 1 and then tries to exit a little bit shallower than Fowler, try to get the better run. Isn't quite close enough this time, but if he does it again through 3 and 4, he enters shallower to 3 and 4. And that's another thing with over racing, you can take more than one line. There's not necessarily always one quick line, especially as the run goes on. You can find a bit of time in a few different lanes on the track.
Yep, definitely. There's multiple ways to do it. I tend to prefer a bit of a higher line, as we can see Mitch doing as well. Goes up a bit higher to start with, but then you see him sort of cut back down. Trying to do that, and you can sort of see it's giving him a bit of a better run coming out of 2 into 3. Just sort of make the straighter you can make the car, obviously the better you can get the power down and the better that you can get on the straights around here. So same thing. Runs a bit higher, tries to get sort of down. He's definitely got a bit of a better run into 1, but not quite enough. Like, unfortunately, that's the other side effect too. Is as we noticed in our races, just you think you can get the run on the guy in front, but then when you actually try and do it, it's a bit harder than it looks. You can get just a bit of overlap, but not quite enough to actually get the move done. So probably a little bit of patience from Mitchell at the moment. Try and work on him. Try to get him in position where he can actually have a bit of a touch as they come out of 4. Don't know if he touched him, but he got plenty close to it. I think he might actually be having a look into 1, but no, just sort of backs out of it. He's going right up high there, actually. That's coming back down again. So once again, trying to get the run on out of 2 onto the back straight. I think he might actually have a look here, Ryan. He has a look.
Down to the inside, trying to take it away. Slides up just a little bit. But Fowler crowding him down on the exit of the corner. And Fowler will get the better run, courtesy of the high line, down and across the tri-oval at the line. It was Mitchell McLeod that had his nose in front through 1 and 2. He should have the preferred line here. Drives it in really deep to the corner. Fowler going to come down on the exit, try and get the crossover to work. I don't think he's got quite the run he needs, though, to make it happen, and McLeod will clear him through 3 and 4 and start to drive away, hopefully for his sake, up the back of Trudell. And the top 3, all very spread out now.
Yeah, we sort of haven't really paid too much attention, but Jason has just been solidly putting in the times and driving away from this field at the moment. He's taking that last lap. 32.2 for Jason versus a 32.3 for Fiorini, so he's just eking that gap out slowly and surely. He's got a 1.8 second lead at the moment, which makes it very hard for that drive.
Back straight, Douglas goes around into the inside fence hard with William Noble, both down on the apron, and we will stay green if none of these guys end up back on the proper racing surface. Blown engines to both machines, so both of those guys will be out of this race. It'll stem from Douglas wiping his nose across the back bumper of Figueira, who cleared him. And watch this, down the back straight, Douglas just about avoids turning Figueira. And then a little bit of contact on his bumper, just unsettled the Illusion Motorsport machine, and unfortunately Noble, nothing he can do, got collected up, the innocent victim. Both of them spear down to the inside wall.
Yeah, very unfortunate there, just sort of bit of contact, and we're heading back to Northway now at the moment. So Northway, second fastest car at the moment with a 32.3. Let's have a look, 32.2 for Martin again. Look at Fiorini with a 32.4. So Robert Northway, obviously hanging off at the start. We were sort of thinking he may be trying to, he's going to go for a run on to Fowler as they go out of 4 as well. So we were noticing earlier he was a bit slower, obviously. He's worked it out. He's worked this tyre strategy out. He's got plenty of pace as they come towards. We are at lap 34 with 6 to run. So he's definitely got the tyre strap now. Can he make it work though?
There we go. He's not quite got the overlap he needs into 3 and 4. Oh, they make contact! Fowler, can he hold on to it? He does. A big snap of oversteer after the contact. Rode that thing all the way up until the fence just kept it out of it. Fowler never stopped wheeling that thing, and a great save, and somehow we still continue to stay green on lap 35 of 40. Look at this replay here.
Yeah, having a look. See, did he actually get there? Oh, yeah. He did get there. I'm not quite sure if Fowler should have really came down the way he did. The door was open there. Northway was definitely going to have a look. But yeah, not sure if he should have done that. Back to second and third, who are battling hard at the moment.
Trudell takes it away. All the way down to the inside. Fiorini pretty much just rolled over and let him go there. got nothing left in the tank to fight him with. 2.5 seconds away from the lead of the race. It's all smooth sailing for Jason Martin out front. We're at that time of the race too, where if a caution does fly, it'll take us to our single green white checkered attempt here on the official races. But looking at the field, everyone quite spread out at the moment, with the exception of Joe Hernandez and Michael Cracknell battling for the final top 10 spot. Cracknell on the outside, still struggling with that damage to the front right of his machine. Not much he can do there, and Hernandez will take that spot away.
Yeah, that damage is always going to hurt in the long run, unfortunately. So he's doing a pretty good job to still hang in there. He's going to have Hernandez in front, who will probably help with the draft a little bit. But you've also got O'Brien that's just in front here as well. So Hernandez might actually have a chance to go for 9th position. So he's running very, very good lines at the moment. He's pulling it down to the bottom line, getting really nice runs. You can sort of see O'Brien didn't quite get it down enough. He was running a very, very midline. He goes defensive into turn 1. So I think Hernandez is definitely going to have a shot here in the closing stages. He's only got a couple of laps to do it, but he's running very, very good lines at the moment. If you could just focus on getting the runs out of the corners. You can see very good run out of there. He's definitely got some pace going at the moment. Brian's definitely going to be aware of it now. He knows he's coming. He knows he's just got to focus on trying to get off the corners as cleanly as possible to try to hold Hernandez, but I don't think he will. It's definitely on.
Hernandez looks high for the Chival and cuts back down to the inside because he wants that line for 1 and 2, but O'Brien drives it in deep. About a lane up from the apron, comes down in the middle of the corner, takes a very good arc through there. Keeps his momentum up nicely, and Hernandez can't get it done through 1 and 2. He's just got 3 more opportunities now as we come across to the white flag. Going to be taken by Jason Martin. Final lap now. We'll come back to the checkered flag. No more cautions in this one. Going to be a green flag from start to finish as Martin comes down to the back straight away now. The number 1 machine led it from the green flag to the checkered flag. No one had anything for the man from Australia today. He's in that purple livery machine as he comes out of 3 and 4. Martin will come across the line and win here in Vegas as behind they continue to battle for P number 9. Kevin O'Brien up on the outside, going to lose out to Hernandez, who takes it away in the final quarter. Hernandez going to come home in 9th. O'Brien loses it right at the final moments.
Brilliant stuff there. Also did notice Carter and Figueira were also battling towards the end there. Figueira managing to hold him out, but Carter was definitely having a good run out of the final turn as we go to a replay of that as well. So Figueira had, Carter had the nose underneath coming out. He's got a very good run coming out of the final turn. Got close, but not quite enough. If it would have been one more lap in this race, I think he would have actually got him into one. So still some brilliant racing for everyone. Wasn't even with the small field, it wasn't over till right at the end. And Jason Martin, well, led it from start to finish, looked to control the entire way. It was his to win tonight, definitely.
He's too good at those burnouts. He does them way too often. And Mitchell McLeod going to join him in doing some jollies on the front trial. And climbing up over his bumper. But I think that'll just about do us for today as we look ahead to what's to come. There's you know what, we should probably do the results first, shouldn't we, too?
Yeah, let's see where everyone actually came in that one. Yeah, it'd be nice.
Well, Martin won the race. And Janelle, he got second in the end after fighting his way by a number of drivers after starting from second, falling back early. Fiorini home in third, had Mitchell McLeod in fourth. Robert Northway came home in fifth, starting from 11th on the grid. Sam Fowler dropped to 6th, Figueira in 7th, Carter 8th, Hernandez 9th. Kevin O'Brien started when he finished there in 10th.
Yes, and now some of the hard luck stories. Michael Cracknell, what could have been, definitely had the pace to be a top 5 contender, but unfortunately that damage cost him a lot. Medrule, same thing, unfortunately damage just being the big factor in that result tonight. And then we've got the 2 DNFs, William Noble and Dave Douglas. An unfortunate incident happened towards the closing stages for them. So what could have been?
What could have been for many of those, but they still got one more chance this season, week 12 next week, where we head to a Auto Club Speedway. That'll be a 2-mile track, and I think we'll wrap this one up. As next week we head to Auto Club. Before then, tomorrow midday Australian Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. If you're in New South Wales or Victoria, the NASCAR iRacing Series top split of the Open Series there. Also at Las Vegas, that should be a big broadcast with plenty of really, really good names joining us for that one on the racetrack. And of course, Porsche qualifying series tomorrow night as well. Plus plenty more to come for SimSpeed. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all the action here on SimSpeed TV. But for tonight, from myself, Ryan Jones, from Summer Mizomo, alongside me, and from Jay Kennedy behind the scenes, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside. Both of them. Maloney. Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top. Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
This is very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?